Brooklyn Independent Television.
At St. Francis College, she's been a player, basketball player, also an administrator. She's been there for about over 20 years now. She's a major player. She is the athletic director at St. Francis College. I'd like to welcome Irma Garcia. Welcome, Irma.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here as always.
As far as last time I had you on, you just started the position maybe a couple of years ago, right? About 3 years ago?
Yeah, I'm going into my fourth year.
Fourth year. How's it been going so far?
Great. I love it. I mean, every day's an adventure. It's always a challenge, but, you know, it's good stuff.
What's new on the men? From what I gather, over the spring, you hired a new men's basketball coach,
We
right?
brought back an old friend, yes.
Right. And he was also, he played basketball there? He was an assistant coach there?
No, what he was our assistant coach for many years. He first started with Rich Bozic.
That's Glenn Bracker, right?
Glenn Bracker.
Bracker.
And then he stayed on with Ronnie Gagnon and was his first assistant for a very long time, and decided to take the job at St. John's as first assistant to Norm Roberts. And this past year we were able, unfortunately Brian had resigned, and we were able to bring him back on. So we're pretty excited.
And he's really rooted in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah. As he says, basically where he lives in Greenpoint, Williamsburg, and he's 20 minutes to the left was to St. John's, and 10 minutes to the right is St. Francis.
And recently you held a big event for your men's and women's basketball team.
Actually, last night we had our first ever, where it was combined men and women, tip-off reception. And it went extremely well. We had over 135 people, and it was held in Manhattan, so it was easy for everybody to get to. It was just a bunch of old friends and new friends, and you know, having Glenn back has been tremendous showing with our alumni.
And in terms of recruiting, he should really be effective in terms of that.
He went. I mean, he had 5 people he brought in, and he's still involved. He goes to practices, and he really wants to continue to do the good things that he's done in the past, which is recruit the local kids.
Right. A sport that's unfortunately not looked at too well, but as far as when it comes to your school, you are a dominant player, is men's water polo.
Oh, yes. Well, right now we're #1 in the East, and they're actually going into Northern Champions this weekend. And then from there they go to Easterns. We're hoping that this will be the year that they go to the Final Four. The only losses that we have are from the West Coast, which we go every year.
USC, UCLA,
yes,
Pepperdine.
But it'll be good to see. That's where it is, the Final Four. We're pretty excited. These gentlemen, they're just phenomenal in the water, and also academically, they're like one of the top teams academically as well.
As far as with the coach, also, I believe you have a new coach recently.
Yes, Igor. Igor was at Columbia University, and which is, you know, it's different because it's Division III and Division I, but he has done a tremendous job. And still with the leadership with Carl Quigley, basically he stayed on as the aquatics director and overseeing the whole program. But it's been a good kind of change, and it wasn't bad in the sense that, you know, where you leave one person and then there's like an area that you don't, there's the space void or kind of thing, but it didn't. It just it took off again. So we're pretty excited.
In terms of that particular sport, when it comes to recruiting, you recruit internationally and
yes.
nationally.
We recruit nationally. We have wonderful. Mostly they're from Hungary or Croatia, but we're starting to recruit from the West Coast, which California. It's not really big. You don't see high schools here are into the water polo. We used to have it at Empire State Games, but they let that go. But so, unfortunately, we have to recruit outside of the East Coast.
In terms of also, you're the only, as far as I know, Latina athletic director.
Correct.
But when it comes to female athletic directors, what are there, about 15 or 20?
Yeah, there's about 15 or 20. In fact, the NCAA is bringing all the female ADs together at Columbia in about a week or so, and just to talk about our challenges and how we can promote that role and promote leadership and trying to get more women into that role. I think it's going to be phenomenal. There's some amazing female athletic directors who are my mentors, who I once in a while call just to find out, what am I doing it right? How would you do? How would you handle it? You know, I always say the one good thing about being a female athletic director, and you know, you have to multitask, but we do have a mommy gene, and which means we can do that very well, and we can delegate and move things around and think outside the box, all the fun things that a mommy does. You know? So we do bring a lot to the table, so we just want to see how we can all put our spin to what our leadership is going to do for the younger women. So I'm pretty excited about it.
No, hold on to that thought. When we come back, I want to talk about recruitment and recruiting players, especially here in the New York City area, which seems to be a difficult task. Right after this. Welcome back. If in case you're just joining me, in the studio with me this week is Irma Garcia. She is the athletic director at St. Francis College in downtown Brooklyn. Irma, in terms of recruiting, especially players here in the New York City area, seems to be quite difficult, especially a lot of the players are not aware of the clearinghouse, which we have discussed here from time to time. That is the NCAA clearinghouse.
Let me make one thing clear. There is plenty of talent in New York City for everyone to share. And one of the challenges that I see as an athletic director is that many of the student athletes, the prospective student athletes from the high school, they don't come in knowing what they have to do, what they have to prepare for Division I. I can only speak for Division I, but there's a ton of paperwork, and one of the concerns is the clearinghouse. When do you do it? How do you do it? Who do you get in touch with? How do you get online to sign up for it? I think one of the other challenges is trying to educate people on what the clearinghouse is. I know that at St. Francis, if you went on our website, there's a segment where you can click on, and it explains everything about the clearinghouse. But it's just like a lot of words, and so do you understand it? To me, it's always about understanding concepts, and that's where I find we're lacking with the high school students and their parents as well, and guidance teachers.
That's in the PSAL, Catholic high school, also in private schools.
There are some high schools.
Because PSAL gets a bad rap.
Well, it's not just the PSAL. There's some Catholic high schools and some, we're talking about private high schools who don't understand what you need to do. And it really comes down to, are the coaches doing their job, or are they just want to play the game, or so forth. But what happens is that the guidance teacher, as they come in as a freshman, should have to be familiar with the clearinghouse. And once they see, they should probably have a segment just for all the student athletes, come in and say, okay, if you're a student athlete, if you're going to play a sport, these are the things you're going to need to know, just in case, if you want to get a scholarship to St. Francis College or any other institution. I shouldn't just say St. Francis. But just for any college or university, these are the things that you're going to need. And then have a segment just for the parents and educate them as well. I know that the NCAA has done that before, where they try to bring in, they come in actually at St. Francis College, where they, NCAA came in and they opened it up for the guidance teachers and the parents. We didn't have such a good showing, but that's something that we have to promote. I
know you can't name particular people or particular high school athletes, but give me some examples of what has happened over the course of some of their recruiting.
Well, I mean, when a coach contacts, well, let's take a basketball coach contacts a high school coach. They try to follow her, she or he, all through their career in high school. They may, in a basketball sense, they might be better at it because they pick it up early. But I should give you a better example, like a track star. You know, when they contact the coach may not be familiar with the NCAA, the clearinghouse, or they do, but they don't follow up. And the follow-up is probably the most important thing for a student athlete's career. And if you don't have someone there constantly saying, this is what you have to do, you're missing this, and it's also the 48H form, because you have to take certain classes.
It's 16 core courses.
Yeah, so you have to take certain classes, and you have to get them done by a certain amount of time. And that's what they're not familiar with. But it's a matter of really educating everyone and staying on top of it. The process is to me, is simple. It's just making an effort to get it done.
In terms of athletic directors, when it comes to female athletic directors, Where do you see the future as far as for females that are interested in becoming maybe ADs or coaches, that sort of thing?
One of the things I found, and for myself too, I don't think I could do it. You know, you just don't think you have it in you to be the director of athletics, overseeing 200 student athletes and 50 coaches, dealing with the NCAA, the Conference Northeast Conference, dealing with the president. You don't think you could do it, but to be honest with you, if you have the passion for it, you can do almost anything you want, and you can put a spin to it. And that's. I still think it's still an all-boys group, and you know, trying to break that barrier it could be difficult, but it's fun too. I mean, I like going to meetings and actually having a voice and having people respect you, and that's what it comes down to. If you work hard enough, people start to respect you.
What twist have you put on the program so far?
Well, I'm real big with the media. This is great, and it's really what I tell our students, athletes, is that their leadership, you know, not just in the athletic field, in the realm of athletics, but just academically and socially, and really giving back to the community. I'm really big with that and passing it forward. I really challenged our seniors this year to be the true leaders, and I made them stand out in front. We have about 3 meetings just with all the student athletes. And I said, these are your true leaders, and now it's your job to make sure that you pass it forward to the young generation. They've really stepped up. We've really had some great where the basketball kids are supporting the water polo kids. The water polo kids are coming to some of the practices. I mean, it's just been great. I really have an open door policy, and so the student athletes know that when they come in, they know I'll go through the wall for them, but I do expect that in return. So pretty excited about that.
Well, Irma Garcia, thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Michael, for having me.
We'll have you back again.
Great. Thank you again.
All right.
Become a fan on Facebook. Like Brooklyn Independent Television.